Hello guys, and I'm back with another episode of Personalities. Today we will be discussing about C.V. Raman, Chandrasekhar Venkat Raman, the Nobel laureate, and a great personality, the greatest Indian scientist we ever had. So before I begin, I would like to request you to subscribe Vysh's channel if you haven't yet. Also subscribe the new channel where we have started a new initiative called Plums Prelim series. So please check out that video. I mean those videos and subscribe the channel, right? So that you never miss an update. And we are coming up with so many new content. So do get benefited by those, right? Now let us begin. So sir. Chandrasekhar Venkat Raman, C.V. Raman, he is an Indian physicist, and his work, was mostly in the field of science, and he helped in, growing science in India, and he was the recipient of Nobel Prize for Physics in 1930, because he discovered, his discovery name was actually called Raman effect or Raman scattering. In this phenomena, what happened, what he discovered was when the light used to traverse from a transparent material. If it is traversing from a transparent material, some of the light gets deflected, right? Some of the light gets deflected, it changes its path, right? And when it does changes its path, the wavelength of it also gets changed, right? So this was the phenomena for which he got Nobel Prize, right? So let us know about his early life. So he was born in Trichirappalli, or is also called as Trichy, in current day Tamil Nadu, in southern India, on 7th November 1888. His father was a lecturer in mathematics and physics, right? So he got it from he inherited kind of this thing for his love for physics, and that's how he excelled also, we can say that. And so that's why he was immersed in an academic atmosphere at home, because yeah, right, his father was an educationist. And he was educated, CV Raman was educated at Saint Aloysius Anglo-Indian High School in Vishakhapatnam, that is Andhra Pradesh, because his father was transferred from Tamil Nadu to Andhra, that is Vishakhapatnam. Earlier it was not called as Andhra and Tamil Nadu, but you get the picture, right? So then he passed matriculation at the age of 11, and then he passed his first examination in arts with a scholarship at the age of 13. So he by the time he was 13, he had completed what we call right now higher secondary or 12th standard. He had completed at the age of 13 itself. And he also excelled in those. He secured the first position in the Andhra board that time, right? AP school board, Andhra Pradesh school board examination, now it is what is called. So by the age of 13, he was done with the 12th standard, and then he entered Presidency College, in which is in Madras, Tamil Nadu. And right, and then he passed this examination, BA examination, and he got the first prize. Then he got first gold medal in physics, and in 1907 he gained his master degrees as well, MA degree, with highest distinction as well. So he had an excellent academic career. He was an excellent student. So then he qualified for the Indian finance services. He kind of took a break from scientific scientific line, because he thought he won't be making enough money. So he cleared the examination, he qualified the examination for Indian finance services, and he got the first position in the entrance examination in February 1907. And he was posted in Calcutta. And after Calcutta also he was posted in so many other places, but again he came back to Calcutta. There he started his research in IACS, right? And he was granted, because he made friends with people working there, and he was so much interested in the research work, and that's how he got into IACS, and he became honorary professor, right, and honorary secretary as well in 1919. And this period he referred to as the golden era of his life. Then his early researches were in optics and acoustics, right? So the two fields of investigation, and he dedicated his entire career to this, right, to this field. And he carried out this research while he was a student. And after 15 years at Calcutta, he became professor at what is known as IISc Bangalore, today Indian Institute of Science. And today also, this institute has the same repute, such great prestige it has, because of the scientific discoveries which still going on in this institute, IISc Bangalore. So in 1930, from 1933 to 1948, he was the professor. And since 1948, he became the director of the Raman Institute of Research at Bangalore, and which he himself he endowed this, right? He himself kind of nurtured this institute. And then some more, he started doing more research, and he founded institutions, right? So he founded Indian Journal of Physics in 1926, and he also became the editor of it, right? And he sponsored the establishment of Indian Academy of Sciences, and he served as the president since its inception. Then he's also initiated the proceedings of that academy, right? And so so much work, details are not that important, you should be focusing on that. But the efforts put in by these scientists at that early age in India, today they are the founding stones. And the all the discoveries which were on all the scientific advancements which India is doing right now are because of the efforts of such great people who had laid the foundations, right? Because of their consistent efforts. Like, even I've been telling about Homi Bhabha, Vikram Sarabhai, so many such scientists. So Indian scientific, these are the backbone of Indian scientific discoveries, right? And so he also initiated the proceedings of that academy, as I told. And then much of his, and he's also he published so many works of that academy. And he was also the president of Science Association Bangalore, which publishes current science, right? Then let us dive into his scientific contributions. We have discussed some earlier, we'll discuss more, right? So his early works, early memoirs, appeared as bulletins of the Indian Association for Agriculture of Science, right? IACS, which was in located in Calcutta, and he was honorary professor in that. And then 1918, it dealt with, bulletin which appeared was dealing with the theory of musical instrument. As I told, he was more into acoustics and optics. So musical instruments, he was kind of researching over that. Then he contributed an article to the theory of musical instrument to the volume of the handbook Dare Physics. So there was a handbook, in that he had written an article about the musical instruments, right? And then, and the physics behind behind those waves, of course, right? Then in 1922, he published his work on the molecular diffraction of light, the first of a series of investigations. And then he also collaborated with other scientists as well, which led to the discovery, right? To this discovery on 28th of February 1928, and of the radiation effect, which bears the name a new radiation in the Indian Journal of Physics. And this very discovery, this very research gained him Nobel Peace Prize in Physics, and later it came to be known as Raman effect or Raman scattering, right? So yeah, here it is, or again discussed. So there were some other investigations also which were carried out by CV Raman. His experimental and theoretical studies on the diffraction of light by acoustic waves are the sound waves of ultrasonic hypersonic frequencies, and those on the effect produced by the X-rays, right? So there were so many levels of his experiments and investigations on infrared vibrations, right? IR vibrations it is. And about these vibrations, I mean, what are infrared waves and all, I have actually taught in the science lecture. So please watch those lectures as well. You will understand, you will have a better understanding what I am talking about in that, because in the short span of 10 or 15 minutes video, I can't be explaining you all these things, right? So in 1948, CV Raman, he he thoroughly studied the spectroscopic behavior of the crystals, and he approached in a new manner fundamental problems of the crystal dynamics. And then his laboratory had been dealing with the structure and properties of the diamond, and the structure and optical behavior of the other, not just diamond, other numerous iridescent substances. There were other substances also which of which their behavior they were studying, right? Like labradorite, pearly feldspar, agate, opal, and pearls. And then among his other interest have been optics, as I have told, of the optics of the colloids. Colloids are kind of the solution. Then electrical and magnetic anisotropy, and the physiology of human vision, right? And then he has been honored with a large number of honorary doctorates and membership, because obviously for his contributions, and he was such a brilliant person. And he was elected a fellow of the Royal Society in his career in 1924. And he was also knighted, that is, he was given this this thing, he was given the title of sir, that is why he's called Sir CV Raman, right? Chandrasekhar Venkat Raman. So he was given the knighthood in 1929, right? So his discovery, that is Raman scattering, is basically, it is about the scattering of the radiations, right? And then because of that, he had won a Nobel Prize in 1930. So CV Raman received a Nobel Prize for physics for Raman effect, and he was the first Asian to receive Nobel Prize in any branch of the physics, on any branch of science, not just physics. With this also you have to remember. And also it should be noted that he was the paternal uncle of another Nobel laureate who also won Nobel Prize in physics, and you have to name that person right here in the comment section. He was the paternal uncle, right? Then after Nobel Prize, he became the he, along with his former student, that is Panchapakesha Krishnamurti, right? P Krishnamurti, we can say. He started a company called Travancore Chemical and Manufacturing Company Limited in 1943, and then company was renamed as TCM Limited in 1996, and was first organic and inorganic chemical manufacturers in India. And then he retired from IISc Bangalore in 1948, as you can see, and he established Raman Research Institute in Bangalore a year later, right? That is 1949, and he served as its director and remained active there until his death in 1970. Then at the end of 1970, he once had cardiac arrest, and he collapsed in his laboratory. He was moved to hospital, but doctors declared that he won't be surviving for long. But he survived for a few days, and just 2 days before he died, he addressed his former students, and then he said, do not allow the journals of the academy to die. They are the sensitive indicators of the quality of science being done in the country, and whether science is taking root in it or not. So such was his dedication, right? Even he was nearing death, but he kept thinking about the science and what it meant for our country. So then on 21st November early morning, he died because of natural causes, at the age of 82. And with this end of an a great scientist life came. So with this, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and with this we will wrap up this episode. Hope you enjoyed a lot, and if you did, please share these videos as much as you can, right? And watch these videos. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next one.